Hi there, this is Dana, a modeler with the IDEAMAPS data ecosystem, and we're collaborating with dozens of modelers outside of our group, students, practitioners in the field, a whole lot of people to bring you this update from July 2023. If you're not familiar with the Integrated Deprived Area Mapping System Network, we are an organic group of experts who come from diverse slum mapping traditions, started coming together a couple of years ago, and have since developed a whole family of projects around slum mapping. With the most recent projects being the Data Ecosystem Project I'm talking about today, as well as our companion project called IDEAATLAS. In the Data Ecosystem Project, we're thinking about processes to generate routine, accurate citywide maps of slums and their characteristics at scale across cities, and also developing a platform that enables more equitable data exchanges and ultimately trust building among the two key stakeholders here, local governments and communities, because it's these two groups, when they work together, that can produce inclusive, sustained urban renewal. The whole project is centered around the co-design process. And so some of the methods that we use are public meetings when we launch projects in a new city. We have local government liaisons embedded within our team who are part of the moment-to-moment decision-making. We also support participatory action research groups in several communities across the different cities we're working in. And we have regular co-design workshops in which we invite a whole diverse group of stakeholders, not just community and local government stakeholders. We've produced user personas. These are profiles of the key stakeholders that we're supporting with this platform. Like I said, community, local government, and of course, modelers who are providing a key link in this process for accessing data. And from this, we generate user stories or understanding the use cases of who's doing what and why with these data, so that we can develop the right requirements for the platform and the data sets. When we started this project in October 2022, the modelers in our team had imagined that we would be producing citywide gridded maps with degree of deprivation. So it'd create a surface of degree of deprivation from areas of most to least deprivation, and that these maps could be classified into slum, non-slum areas and used for things like SDG 1111 reporting, which is understanding the percent of urban population living in slums, informal settlements, and inadequate housing. We are also drawing from a domains of deprivation framework, which was developed in a previous IDEAMAPS project, which outlines 9 different types of deprivation that exist pretty much in any city and really define what deprivation means in any city. And we also imagine these domains of deprivation to inform which data went into models, but also how we interpreted the results in this general concept of deprivation. The feedback was that overall deprivation and even these 9 domains of deprivation were still a little too theoretical to be useful in practical conversations. Instead, what people needed was specific subdomains of deprivation, things like access to water and sanitation, flood risk, things that would be useful in the conversations that people are having already. These specific subdomains mapped pretty well across the general deprivations that we understood to define slums and informal settlements. So this includes flood risk, areas where electricity is or is not available, areas where there is unplanned urbanization is characterized by small, non-durable, disorganized structures, areas where there is accumulated solid waste or trash piles, areas where water and sanitation per capita is inadequate, and areas where health facilities per capita are inadequate. So communities and local governments were able to build on this very academic framework and articulate the specific data sets, the specific subdomains of deprivation that they need for their existing negotiations, when they're planning upgrading activities, when they're budgeting and prioritizing resources, and when they're advocating for issues that matter most in communities. So modelers are iterating on this. We're now going back and for these different 6 subdomains, identifying existing data and methods that can be used to co-produce these data sets, working with communities and local governments to make sure the outputs are in the right format for the use cases that they have. And what's nice about this is that these subdomains can actually be aggregated to come up with this overall concept of deprivation, and even be used to understand degree of deprivation by the number of deprivations that are showing up in an area. And we can use those degree of deprivation maps to still classify areas of slums and non-slums and do things like SDG 1111 monitoring. If you want to find out more or get involved, you can find us on the web, ideamapsnetwork.org. We're also on LinkedIn and Twitter. Thank you.